Oh yeah, Black Sun in the hizzle for shizzle dizzle. We got an excellent show today, but I want to first introduce my guest, Prince Zephaniah. How you doing?
Peace, my brother. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I want to address, of course, the situation in Syria. Obama having a very difficult decision. You know, you got Senator John McCain beating the war drum. But the only dilemma to that is that we have the English Parliament, they done backed out saying, no, we don't want to go to war. France, they backed out. They don't want to go to war. So, you have the situation with Syria. You have Syria with allies like Iran, allies like Russia, allies like China, and Russia has warships over there, warships. I know they have 2 destroyers on the way. So, Prince, we got a we on the verge of World War III here. Well, let's, how do we calm this situation down? You got, this Congress, John Boehner basically following behind Barack Obama. You got John McCain in the Senate. He's a warmonger. Well, how do we calm this down?
Well, in order to calm it down, we're going to have to take the higher ground with its understanding.
Okay.
And as I say many times, this whole scene is really not Barack's call.
Right.
The call is that of the United Nations, the League of Nations.
Okay.
Because this was an atrocity against humanity.
Okay.
And that involves a higher source, a more conglomerate viewpoint of it, and their support to how the punishments or whatever sanctions are going to be going against it because it was wrong to be done.
Yeah, but
now,
how did England back out of this and France?
This is the point I'm building.
Okay.
The point I'm saying that it should have brought to the council for them to sit down,
right?
All right, and make a decision on what was to be done, as opposed to America stepping out there, right, after seeing what's been going on for the last 2 or 3 wars. It's talking about putting our lives, the lives of our children, the
right,
lives of our citizens back in harm's way because of some stuff that's happening on the other side of the earth that they assume may eventually have a problem here.
That's right.
But if they're looking at this as for its face value, we just came through 2 wars.
Right, absolutely.
We were in Afghanistan, and that was a fiasco in a sense.
That's right.
And many of our citizens lost their lives.
Don't forget Iraq.
And as well as Iraq.
That's right.
So it should be very, for a leader to look at it and say, well, hey, do I want to cast my people? Because, we may say today, well, we're not going to use soldiers or infantry, but eventually we never know how that's going to turn out or play itself out.
Absolutely, especially if Russia intervenes,
right.
And
so the idea of what we're looking at here has to take us to think about a higher ground. When the council put it together, the sanctions on how war plays itself out and things which was created back in during World War I.
Yes.
Right? They took on responsibility to set the laws and the ground rules, but they're not backing up their decisions then, okay? What they're doing, and mainly a lot of it has to do with America because a lot of stuff that went on after that was atrocities against the world that America wasn't brought up on charges about, such as Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
That's right.
So when we look at that, the League of Nations is shucked their responsibility for forming in the first place, to join the nations together and not upholding their end. And this is the problem today. Now, we're trying to be big brother around the world, but it's at the extent, the expense of our citizens. So, it ain't an aggression that it directly came at us, other than you may look at 9/11.
But Prince, has the government ever really? I mean, you say at the expense of our citizens. I mean, citizens are always expendable.
Well,
they join the war, they join,
well, look,
military force to, basically be expendable.
for protection of their land,
Right.
for protection of, its citizens.
Right.
What are we doing on the other side of the earth, right, when no one has came to these shores, right, other than, as I was speaking to say, it was, what, World War II?
Uh-huh.
And
I mean, that's an interesting concept. You got to protect land, that the way we might see it as a 99%, but then you got the way that they see it as far as like possessing other lands and resources.
well, they're looking at it for the economic process, basically.
Okay.
Oil and,
Right.
things of that nature.
Absolutely.
But how do we put our lives on the line, when something happens that is not directly aimed at us?
Well, they do produce false flags. Let's look at the Boston bombing. Let's look at the World Trade. These things are created to build up an emotion to make us want to, oh, you know what? They attacked us. Let's go fight. But now people are.
That is exactly why I'm saying we need to go to the higher ground. Now, I know you and I clash over scriptures.
Right, right.
But
But you just said higher ground, but then they're being pressured by, I guess, Ban Ki-moon of the UN. So if you're being pressured, how can you take a higher ground when you're instructed to do
Well,
a certain job?
you can't go at it alone. The basis is this. If the American facet would become aware of and look at the whole picture,
Right.
okay, why am I going over there?
Right. Well,
We
now
just-
you got, well, let me, you know what, you got soldiers now saying, you know what, we don't want to fight on the side of Al Qaeda, because now information's come out that we're funding Al Qaeda, to go against Syria, and so now our soldiers are starting to think for themselves and saying, you know what, we don't want to
What
fight with
is
Al Qaeda.
this all about?
Right, right.
Why, how are we becoming, which is a natural process of human thought and human
Right.
thinking.
Okay.
Caring about yourself, caring about the world, caring about your brother.
Is it caring or just not wanting to fight along a certain type of people?
It's caring about yourself because you become involved.
Okay.
Right? Your life is on the line.
All right.
So, but if we step back and think, and this is why I advocate, this is my own, which is probably the viewpoint of a lot of people, we got to take it to a higher ground. And the higher ground is, what is the value of life? Or what is the value of material? What is more important to you? Okay? And if you value life, then decisions should be made to secure life.
And I agree with what you're saying, but you gotta, what you're asking is the individual, like the individual soldier, let's just say the 99%, what we value, and then what the 1% values, the one who called the shots, the John McCain's, the John Boehners of the world, they don't see it that way.
But you see, Black Son, now we, for years we've been talking with a sense of consciousness,
Absolutely.
trying to bring people's awareness to
Agreed.
to look at life a little differently.
Right.
And we done seen the confusion. We done seen the 9/11s and
Absolutely.
who did what and who didn't do.
That's right.
By now, the backing sources who put these people, allow these people who making these decisions to be in power should be questioning
I agree.
all the way up and down the board.
Okay.
Why are you getting ready to put our lives back in harm's way for something that the world nations should have handled.
Absolutely.
If the world nations is handling it, we are part of that, then we would be involved, but at least we know that they took their stand and they stood up for what they're supposed to be representing.
And who's to say that they're doing wrong? Because China and Russia voted down. They're saying, you know what, we're against those terrorists that are going into Syria, the rebels, per se. So
Well,
you got two different perspectives.
Let's look at this.
Okay.
The whole struggle from the beginning.
All right.
They dropped some chemicals.
Now, who dropped the chemicals?
That's what I'm getting ready to go to.
Okay, let's find out who dropped the
Now,
chemicals.
how do
All
we
right.
find out who dropped the chemicals? Well, simple process of elimination.
Okay.
One, where was the government and where was the rebels? If I dropped it closer to the government, that means the rebels did it. If I dropped it where the rebels are and where I'm trying to reach the rebels, then the government did it.
Right.
So where was it dropped? And when we look at that analysis, using sense,
Right.
right, we already know who did it.
Right. And then to add to that, I want to add to that, Syria allowed the UN and inspectors to come in and inspect, and then the same day the chemicals are dropped. So that's just like you're the police, you come to my house and you know what, you're looking for drugs, and then suddenly drugs just dropped
Now,
in my,
a plan,
right.
somebody else planned it.
Right. I mean, that's what it looked like, because I wouldn't drop drugs in my front porch if you're the police, coming to,
And common street intelligence would tell you that.
Right, right.
So now here's the political figures, those who are in power, quote unquote, right? They're on national media trying to convince this government or these soldiers or these mothers and children and fathers who now, if we go to war, their sons and daughters got to be put back in harm's way.
Absolutely.
So they need to get an appeal from the bottom, from the people, to go along with the foolishness that's been going on. The foolishness needs to be challenged, okay?
Absolutely.
And the only way to challenge it, we've tried to challenge things in the past,
Right.
but we've gone at it militarily, the Panthers and stuff like,
That's right.
that was the wrong way because it didn't reach its fruition.
Right.
What we need to do today is sit down and discuss with our families and our children.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
understand? But our youngsters are out here. We need to grab them, number one, and get them to play a part of why are you sending us back into this situation? And how does it really affect us? Okay, my car, it might affect me by me driving
Right,
my car because I
absolutely.
need the oil.
Gas, that's right.
And the things that are coming. So what's going on is the material value is now becoming the priority now.
Right, because nobody want to pay high gas prices. For y'all that say, how does this relate to us? Okay.
Right. So now, but they need to stand up and make a national cry. It's like they marched to Washington.
That's right.
But the issue when they got to Washington is about the world, it should have been also about the world atrocities that's going on universally around the world. Which brings me to the point that I was trying to build from the beginning.
You talking about that 50th anniversary March on Washington?
Yes.
But Prince, black people lack empathy for other people.
Well,
Because we talk about white people lack
there's a
empathy.
reason for that, though.
Okay, what's the reason?
The reason that they are the children of the Creator, who I say is our Father, God. And their heart is going to be towards the sympathy and the caring of which they are naturally about when they get back to their position that they should have been and should have never left.
Okay.
Okay? And that was to project and acknowledge the power of Yah, or the power of the Creator in the earth, in the entire universe. We as the children, we call ourselves, I know you get into it with us every now and then, me and Gideon,
Right.
but we say we're Israelites.
Right.
But if I take that a little step higher, I understand that that word Israel or Yisrael was given back many centuries very close to Syria,
Right. Absolutely. Oh yeah, that whole region. Right.
that region.
Yeah, that whole region. Yeah.
And in that region, here was a man we call Yaakov or Jacob, whose name was changed, and the Creator then adopting him as his personal son. Okay?
So,
And
so let's get back to the empathy, because you have black people here, and not to say that we don't have issues like Trayvon Martin and Oscar Grant and, Sean Bell, but I mean, like you said, when you go back to, if you compare our situation to Gaza, it's really no comparison. If you compare our situation to the Congo, there's no comparison. So really, we really are like acting like spoiled kids.
But see,
like some spoiled rats.
I wouldn't say that,
You wouldn't say that?
because look at Chicago.
Okay.
Look at our
And I can
children.
say look at Saudi Arabia. I can say
But
look
what
at Yemen.
Okay.
Okay.
In Yemen, there are 2 forces working.
Mm-hmm.
In America, there's 20 forces working.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And our children lives are being in harm's way here in the streets of America. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And there's no counsel, nothing, the empathy that we should be having,
Right.
is not being raised enough to reach those who will become involved.
Right, because the same type of empathy that we like as a people will be the same thing that gives us. I had to explain to a person this morning about allies, and this sister had no concept of what like allies. She's like, well, what are you talking about? And I said, well, like the Iraq War. We went into war. France went into war. Belgium, England, and she had no concept. She just thought we went into war by ourselves. And I said, that's the purpose of allies. Allies, if something goes down, I'm a part of you and you're a part of me. And if I get into trouble, you help me out. That's the whole obligation of being an ally. And so I find it very sad that, we talk about, I know we always ponder education, and it's really sad that we can't even know like the basics of, allies.
It's fortunate, well, unfortunate, that our people have not been educated enough
Right.
to know that this planet in itself don't belong to me. I'm just here.
Mm-hmm.
This is my birthplace. This is where I live.
Okay.
But the planet itself belongs to God. And many people have a problem accepting that, but
Like me,
Like you.
king of the black atheists. Okay, but go ahead.
But if we look back into the scriptures, this period of time, the Creator set aside, right?
But Prince, you're losing me. You keep talking about
I'm
creators
losing
and
you.
Bibles. Keep it
I'm
plain.
gonna keep it plain.
See, that's why people like Martin Luther King lost me. That's why I had to, get with Malcolm X, because he kept it plain to the people. You know what I'm saying? Kept it to the straight. You know what I mean?
Let's understand Malcolm.
Okay, right. He kept it plain. He talked plain English.
He kept it plain, but now let's understand.
And he understood his surroundings too. He understood that there were people back in the 1960s who didn't believe in God.
Okay.
So he didn't look at it as
he did.
Huh?
He did.
Right.
Okay. And one of his treasured pieces, okay, that there is a God.
So
Okay.
why did he
So-
form a...
When this is one of the reasons.
And I respect that, and that's why I respect that he made 2 organizations, one for former Islamists and one secular group. So even though he might have, you say, believed in God, but he understood that there were brothers and sisters out there that didn't necessarily agree to that concept.
That concept.
Right.
But
so he provided for them because he understood it has to be a balance.
in his understanding, his originality, he was quote unquote black. Black thought, black power.
Right.
But he broadened his scope,
Oh, absolutely.
okay?
Right.
But in broadening his scope, he had to go find himself. Okay, and in finding himself, he found out that there is, quote unquote, a power, the Creator. He referred to him as being Allah.
Yeah, but I think Malcolm already knew that even when he was Detroit Red. I think just like most of the hustlers and pimps and drug dealers, they believe in a God. What I'm saying is, I think it took him to know himself, to broaden his range, that understand that there were other schools of thoughts out there, and he met people like John Henry Clark, who was an atheist, to understand that perspective later on. Not as Detroit Red, because Detroit Red, he already knew about God and all that stuff, just like most people.
As Detroit Red,
right?
He had a concept of God.
Absolutely.
But in his footsteps, his walk, he was being led away from that concept in the sense that it was not it was different from the Christian thought that prevails here in this country.
Oh, so you're saying he knew about religion, but he just wasn't religious.
Right.
Then he became religious, and then he became on a worldwide scale.
He came to rise to the reality that God is universal and that all mankind, okay, are subject to the power of God.
Okay, well, let's take what you're saying, because the situation in Egypt is not over, even though we're dealing with Syria. And you said take a higher ground and everybody needs to learn God, but you have the Muslim Brotherhood who wanted to impose a theocracy, much like the Hebrew Israelites want to do.
Well, let's take that for what it's worth.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay, the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood has to deal with who they got their understanding from. Where does it come from?
The same.
That's what I'm.
Okay.
We got to go
come from
back.
the same source.
It came from the same source.
Okay.
All right. Muhammad, who truly believed in the Creator. Okay. And he was trying.
Who can't prove his existence? But go ahead.
Well, some people can. I can't. Now.
I'd like to have him on the show.
Okay. So. The issue is that he began to see, okay, that what was going on around him, almost like his forefathers, Abraham, right? There's got to be something better than this. There's got to be something greater than this, all right? You say we worship all these idols, so Abraham breaks
right. So in that moment, in his mind, he's saying there's got to be something. So he became the reformer at that moment,
right. So,
just like Yahshua became the reformer at that moment. So right. I look at it from a different objective, meaning you have men that look at a situation. It's just like us. We've now come to the point where saying, you know what, we're no longer going to go for the okie doke, weapons of mass destruction, because that's how they got us last time. Yeah. And then we're not falling for the banana in the tailpipe no more. So you know what? They're saying that Syria rebels. No. They're saying that Assad attacked his own people with chemical weapons, and you have on YouTube now that the Syrians admitted to using those weapons.
So now,
Al-Qaeda.
Okay.
Right.
That brings us back to 2 points. One point is this: are we acknowledging the Syrians are the Muslim Brotherhood acknowledging the power that created mankind? Are they acknowledging the information that is put in their doctrines to govern them in their relationship to the power of heaven and earth?
Okay.
So it leaves us in a situation where if they were applying, if the Muslim Brotherhood would apply Islam as Islam was intended,
Elder, you got interpretations. That's the problem. You keep talking about
I'm talking about if we mention the term Allah, it means God.
Okay.
If we mention the term Yahweh or Yahuwah, it means the same thing. Okay?
All right.
It's talking about a central focus on a power that gives all life to life, or to the earth. So if they were to follow those principles that Muhammad taught in the beginning, right, then advocated what? Peace and the brotherhood of man. Okay? They are the ones that are violating their own principles.
Well,
of
based on what
instruction.
they said, we bring peace through the sword. It has that in the Quran.
That ain't what Muhammad said in the beginning.
That's what it says in your Bible.
That is not what Muhammad
It
said.
doesn't say
from the
that in
beginning.
Revelations.
That ain't what.
That all knees
again,
shall bow sounds like executions to me.
Again, it doesn't say that.
Okay. So it's interpretation again.
Okay.
Okay.
No, it doesn't say that.
But see, Elder, and this is the problem I have. I'm going to bring Gideon in here in a minute. Let's just say I'm a Hebrew Israelite, right?
Okay.
And you're coming up with interpretation. Gideon's coming up with interpretation. I'm coming up. Now we got different factions. Now we got Shia and Sunnis now. You see how that works?
But,
now we got Taliban. Now we got Al Qaeda. You see how that works? Because they're interpretations.
So
one person has to be right. And now I'm about to whip out my sword. You're going to whip out your sword. Now we're going to have conflict.
No, that ain't the way
we haven't
it
even
went down. Remember.
Right. But that's the way it's been going down, Elder.
But let's deal with the story.
Let's look at Yemen. Let's look at Pakistan. Let's look at Afghanistan.
The country's cool. They embrace some philosophies that they've altered.
Okay.
Because they're not following.
And that's why they're fighting, because they're saying the same thing you're saying. They're not following.
They're not following the terms which advocates peace. Okay. The whole term advocates peace.
Well, I got to bring Gideon here because I know Obama talks about peace. and they gave him the Nobel Peace Prize.
Oh. Man, what a joke.
But to go in Obama's defense, he said, I don't deserve this.
He was right about that. This issue of President Obama, and once again, thank you, Black.
Thank you for being right. Because we're on the verge of World War III here, Gideon.
Well,
so I had,
that depends.
I've had
myself, Prince Zebekiah, other Hebrew Israelites and factions have been talking about biblical prophecy as it pertains to Russia.
That's right.
Israel.
That's right.
Our people. We're actually Iran. The
China.
gateway, China.
I mean, everybody's in this.
These guys already got ships moving off the coast of Syria. And this is the thing, we're serious about Syria. And the events that are taking place are quite serious and world-shaking events.
Right.
This is a revelation that those of us who've been in the know have been discussing about these ramifications of international global powers parlaying to destroy the planet based on acquisition of the resources and the people that are on it. See, it's a world conspiracy. Psalms chapter 2 speaks of why the heathen rages. Right. The rage is the hatred they have for the Creator, His creation, and those
Wait a minute.
who
Are you saying
represent it.
Obama hates your Creator there?
Obama's last name lets you know what he's all about.
Obama.
Bomber. He been bombing ever since he came into office. Now he's made bombing with the drones, the highest medal in the military, drone bombing, Obama. So now they're saber rattling. They're getting ready to come where you got all these military moguls moving their chess pieces into position on the chessboard.
I'm glad you said that because all that ain't for Syria.
It is not.
Can't be.
The Creator is actually manipulating. I know you may not believe this, but we've been talking about it from biblical prophecy, and it's coming into fruition right in front of our eyes. So, for those of us who are concerned about gas, water, light, food in the refrigerator, what's happening in Syria has little relevance, so we think.
Right.
But the reality is, all of that is over there is about us over here.
That's right.
Because as we begin to organize, unify, and prepare a plan for extricating ourselves from America, the nations are rallying themselves to show why we need to fight for this whore that's getting ready to go down in the first round.
Yeah, but the only people rattling for that is John McCain and Barack Obama.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Elder.
This is the point that I was trying to build earlier. When we realize, right, like I talked earlier on another show about this period of time, its relationship to the individuals around the world.
Exactly.
It says the whole world, earth, is waiting on the salvation of the sons and daughters of God.
Their manifestation, yes, sir.
And when you go back, as you begin to read, it talks about the gatherings, even whether you show Christianity or whatever, it talks about the gatherings and the return of Mashiach, as they call it.
Yes, sir.
Okay? But all of this is predicated upon his children first being gathered out of their lands that they were scattered unto. Don't think for one instance that anything is going to really totally take place that's going to get correct, period, until his children return unto him. And in their returning unto him, they have the same position that they had when the term Israel was given to Jacob. You have power between God and man. You are the one that the earth is waiting on to come back to your realities, to come out the street killing each other in Chicago, to come out the street doing the things that we're doing that...
Yeah, but Prince, Vladimir Putin and Barack Obama may not necessarily believe that.
Exactly.
That seems to be the biggest problem involved. The people in power are not going for that. Okay?
Well,
and the people on the bottom, which are us, we're grabbing the Bibles and we're being so religious and so, hallelujah, thanking Jesus having the Holy Ghost while the rest of the world is dealing with power and nuclear weapons.
Power. There's no power.
Apparently there is power.
There's no power.
There is power.
We'll just let him make the
Okay,
statement.
all right.
My statement.
Okay.
There's no power that can oversee or succeed or go beyond the power of Yah, or the power of the Creator. Okay?
Sounds good. Okay.
Now, it not only sounds good, but that's going to be the cry out.
It sounds good to the believers. It doesn't sound
Well,
good.
and let me just say this, Prince, because the issue is belief, even among us. For those who say we believe, the measure of what we believe is hinged upon the demonstration of faith. Our faith is demonstrated through our work. So as you indicated, Vladimir Putin, Barack Hussein Obama don't believe diddly about the scripture. However, they are playing the parts that the scriptures indicated they would play, whether they believe in it or not. So when we talked about the first meeting with Vladimir Putin and President Barack Hussein Obama, Putin wouldn't even shake his hand, would not even shake his hand. And one of the brethren, the beloved brethren at the congregation of Yahshua, he mentioned that this time when Barack went and, they just had the summit in Russia, they isolated. Putin shook his hand, but when they sat down at the tables, Barack Hussein Obama, America's president, was sitting alone. That they isolated him. And this is exactly what the scripture says is going to happen ultimately to America.
Gideon, you got people here that isolate him, that won't shake his hand.
Well, sure. But see, here he's working for Halliburton.
Okay.
He's working for the corporations. Oh, yes. Did you all hear? They have now made the corporations, first they made corporations legally people. They are persons.
That's right.
Now they have made corporations, allowed them to form military militias.
Oh, yeah,
They
absolutely.
have given them the authority just through the changing of the laws where corporations now can form militias.
We already saw that with
and
George
have
Zimmerman.
arsenals.
We already saw that with George Zimmerman.
In the
That
sense,
lets you know, yeah. I mean,
well,
come on.
George Zimmerman doesn't represent a corporation
Yeah, but
as we know of.
He represents the defense of white supremacy.
He represents the defense of white supremacy and vigilanteism all over America.
Absolutely.
So now, since Zimmerman, now the corporations have the ability to form their own militaries and form their own arsenals. What does this mean?
Well, Gideon, as well as and Black Sun, we're operating again without the council, or in the absence of one of the programs that we had. The earth is operating in the absence of God.
Right.
They're not including what is written about God and man's relationship with God into this arena. And those who know ain't taking it to them the way they're supposed to, okay? understanding the Creator's word means you stand on the Creator wherever you go.
Sure.
Okay? You advocate peace, the brotherhood of man, wherever you go. Mm-hmm. The Christian society that talks about unity, okay? You learn that you love God first. And what does he require of you? To keep his commandments, statutes, and judgments.
So, Prince, how does that translate into
It translates
Barack
like this.
Obama standing down? Like, okay, Barack Obama, you have England.
Here-
They voted the parliament saying, we're not going to war.
Here's how you do it.
Okay. And
You
you
go-
remember you said you got Ban
You
Ki-moon
go,
on his back.
You make the issue, and you bring the issue to him. Look, man, we are the children of God. Your decisions have to be made considering that this ain't your
Okay,
plan.
and Prince, I keep saying this. I'm king of the atheists, okay? And what I'm saying is that
I
I'm
understand.
speaking for Barack Obama and all the atheists on the planet.
Right.
We're not going for that.
Exactly.
Okay.
We're not going for that.
I
We would
I
kill all the
understand.
Christians.
I
We would
understand.
kill all the Hebrew
I
Israelites and all the
understand.
Muslims before we do that. And that's why we signed what they call the Endless War Act. This is a real act.
Well,
Yeah.
understand
And
this.
so what I'm shocked about is that they were planning on wiping out all the Muslims. Now they're uniting with the Muslims. So I'm like confused about this because,
What I'm saying is this.
Okay.
I'm saying in Islam, Christianity, Judaism,
right,
in all these monotheistic religions, right, the people who embraced it
right.
are not looking at its founder. They're not looking at that you breathing the air that come from him.
Right.
They're
so
not-
you're talking about-
Let me
okay.
intersect. And the only thing I would say in reference to what Prince is saying is that it isn't that they're not looking. Yah has blinded their eyes. They can't see. See, he's only given certain individuals insight and perception.
Okay.
And as you said, they're not going to hear. Even when Moses went to Pharaoh,
Yeah, they're not gonna-
he didn't care. He said, who is this God you talking about? So clearly, Prince Zebekiah overstands that the nations and the powers that be do not acknowledge the power, the true power. Now, that having been said, no matter whether it was Moshe going to Pharaoh or me or Prince going before Barak, they're not going to be able to hear that because that's not where Yah has them. He has the nations coming up to battle because the laws that man has set on the books have set a particular standard and a profile.
Right.
See, the nations that are fighting against each other are actually in concert with one another.
Right.
Why are they
Absolutely.
in concert? Because they are unified in the destruction of the planet for the acquisition of resources based on coal, oil, all these fuels that undermine the internal structure of the planet.
And that's why I'm saying our Creator says, I kill, I make alive.
Right.
Okay, I heal, I make sick. That's the kind of power that I'm talking about.
So then why?
And the issue is being able to have that response from him on our behalf, which means literally when we begin to unsift what's really going on, it's all about you,
Exactly.
right? And how far you've gotten away from his instruction, okay? That we need to get back to his instruction to
So
understand.
you're talking about going back to a theocracy.
Well,
No,
Black
I'm-
Sun represents the realism that the vast majority of our children have who don't have insight
insight.
to biblical scripture and the historical perspectives that biblical historians like you and myself have. So they are operating in the realm of realism, taste, touch, smell, the five senses.
Nuclearism too.
And nuclear waste and nuclear
Right,
fallout.
right.
Is there.
I agree,
So here
right,
we
I
go.
agree.
We're looking at these nations coming together. They're unified in the type of energy resources that they use. It's all based on gas, oil, petroleum. These are products that the nations have come together. What do they get? Where are they getting it from? From the internal structure of the earth. So, Yah, the creator, those of us who believe, is not ultimately going to let them destroy the earth. Now, when we come from the spiritual realm, which many of you may not be able to see and come to the natural realm, you have to figure out who then is going to rule things if the white man continues to destroy and undermine the planetary structure. Here you are on a spaceship, and he wants to build another spaceship off the coast of this spaceship to tear this one up and go move into one that's going to tear up before he get this one tore up.
Let me say this in defense of the atheists. You have two countries here, America, Russia.
Right.
Neither one of them want to show weakness. This is a street thing.
This is street.
straight street.
That's absolutely.
They not want to show weakness.
This is a pissing match.
They both know one or the other going to have to stand down, but the person that stood down is going to be look at the weaker one.
Well, 63, who stood down in 63 Bay of Pigs?
We did.
No, we didn't stand down.
Oh, it was Cuba.
It was Russia,
okay.
who was based in Cuba,
That's
that
right.
had missiles pointed
That's
at
right.
America. And what did President Kennedy at that time tell him? He said, if you don't move those missiles out of Russia, we're going to found the Kremlin.
Yep.
And what did the bad dude? Tuck his tail,
You better
drawed
not-
his claws in, and wobbled back over yonder.
So
Yeah,
they
but we're
playing
dealing
the
with
street
former
game.
KGB.
Now we
Vladimir
talking
Putin.
2013,
We talking about Vladimir,
baby.
right? He's straight gangster.
We talking Putin now.
Right, so
Putin
we-
ain't Putin. Putin is ready to do some things.
He is.
Now here you got Barack, who ain't nothing but a street gangster.
Right, he's Chicago gangster, right.
Straight up front for the white man.
But
He's
Putin's
a
just straight KGB. So,
KGB,
I
baby.
mean, you got
so
two-
now you got them coming head to head, right? Pissing match.
Yeah.
Most High's gonna see what's gonna happen.
Neither one of them got to wake up tomorrow. I kill, I make alive.
That's right. That's what the
When
most.
we wake up and realize our position with our Creator, then they are obsolete, okay, in their thought process. And this is where we fail to lead and fail to acknowledge. If we stand on, in our scripture, say, Moses, take off your shoes. The ground that you stand on is what?
Holy ground.
Holy ground. We got to come back to that holiness. And this is the time to wake up to it.
Well, this is what's going to bring us back. See, normalcy is not going to bring us back as a people. What's going to bring us back is people who think outside the box, like Black Sun. See, atheism is a title. Don't mean nothing. For those who think outside the box, essentially the Creator chooses who are His. I'm sure there were atheists out there among the Hebrews. All the Hebrew family was atheists except Moshe, and he became a believer after he saw the bush that was burning and was not consumed. So what we're talking about are the people. See, let's throw the question back on to him.
Okay.
See, we talking spiritual. We say y'all gonna fix it. Now, when we talk about Syria, Russia, Iran, China, all these people, as an atheist, what y'all gonna do?
Well, what I'm saying is that I'm looking at Barack Obama has an easier way out because England backed out, France backed out. And our Congress is saying no. So he has an excuse to back out. It's not so much looking weak because, we can hold our own. They backed out during the Bay of Pigs, so let us back out now because we in the wrong. Straight up, we in the wrong. We supported Al-Qaeda terrorists. Our troops do not want to fight along them. That's a lose-lose situation.
Man, Al-Qaeda is
We
CIA,
don't want-
baby.
Okay, they CIA, right, but they sitting up here.
Have you seen Al-Qaeda yet?
Huh? I mean, you're
There's
right.
Al-Qaeda behind every
Right.
bush.
I agree.
CIA.
I agree with that. Same with Muslim Brotherhood.
Okay.
Which means
Same with Muslim
exactly.
Brotherhood. Right.
Which means
So,
again,
I think it's easier for Barack to back down on this.
which means again, it goes back to that same concept. All right. You have power between God and man.
Yes.
You have power between how the earth runs, whether it's going to set on its axle, whether it's going to continue to run around the sun. You have that power. And if you read the scriptures, you know you're going back to the scriptures. We talk about a man by the name of Joshua, cause the sun to stand still in the sky. So these are things that, though at being an atheist, you may be in rebellion against the
No, as an
concept.
atheist, I'm looking at it from a
Yeah, he's not in
standpoint-
rebellion.
Nah,
He
well,
just doesn't believe it
I don't believe in
existed.
existence,
don't
right?
believe-
Well,
that's what I'm
looking
saying.
at. I'm looking at. We give a little, take a little. So Russia backed down during the missile crisis. Now we can say that we backed down duing the invasion.
Obama
of
came back
Georgia.
down. You know why?
Well,
Because
Bush
these
backed
white
down.
folks are, wait a minute.
Okay.
See, Obama right now is already under attack. He's under attack if he doesn't do anything.
Right.
And then he's under attack when he does stuff. So
Right.
he's just a spook sitting behind the door.
But again, it's weighing more if he do something.
Well,
you got Republicans now, Rush Limbaugh. You got
He's always had them. But see, this is the point. He's working for them. They're using him as a whipping boy because that's what he was, a tool. In essence, see, when he came into office, he said, clean up our economic mess, boy.
Right.
He came in trying to clean up his economic mess. They said, boy, go over here and make some wars or finish the wars that the Bush family stopped, boy. And he's going on, he's following, he's got the same administration. He's following the same rules. He is the same. Now, the only thing he did, wait a minute, hold on. The only thing he did different was that I have to respect this. He said, after being at the pinnacle of the height of American power, he looked on television during the interview and said, I found out you cannot change this government from within.
Wow. Yeah.
What does that say? Voting, anything other than revolution is not going to impact this system because they were set up by revolution.
Listen. I don't know about Barack so much as I know about Michelle. Okay. Now.
I know she's fine.
Yeah.
And
not only is she fine and intelligent.
She gangster too.
Right?
Yeah, she gangster too now. Oh, she a sister, so you know she got that mouth to go along with them things she said no.
See, her point of view and her seeing things comes from almost the same train that we're talking about.
Okay.
Okay. And that's acknowledging that the Creator has power in this thing.
How you claiming her? She's
because I'll show you exactly how she's claiming. The fact that she put a garden in the White House.
We put gardens.
Farmers trust in the Creator because that's the only thing
Wait a
that
minute.
can give life.
No, we down for that too.
Just take my word for it.
You're down for good eating too, health, right?
Take my word for it.
Okay.
And if she is his wife, okay, somewhere along the line they're meeting with that mindset.
Agreed. Okay.
Okay. And if we push it from our perspective, you and I, of course, we got to bring him over.
Y'all got him. Y'all got
Hey,
him.
I'm just a mouthpiece.
Y'all got him.
Right? At that point, we can advocate. We can start pushing. Look, man, we got to talk to God. Listen, this is what I believe. I'm talking about for me. We got to talk to. We got to seek counsel through the spiritual realm of things. Because, man, if it get out of hand, that means all life on the earth.
That's why you guys are here.
Will be affected.
That's what they plan on doing, Elder.
But now, if all life is being affected, they ain't got enough rockets to take enough of them off the planet. So what I'm saying to you is, all right, it bears wisdom to sit down and say, look, let's take this. And we pushing it, Barack, look, consider God. Every leader was told in here, kings and men were told to write the law of instruction that Yah gave to the children of Israel. Over and over again. And see, we, at the time that we most critical, when we should be most critical about it, are stepping back. Because we feel, okay, that we can't say nothing. They ain't gonna believe us. But his word is true.
Well, we are saying something, and there are many who do believe, and this is the issue with Michelle and Barack. They ain't running nothing.
There you go.
They're not running nothing.
That's understood.
They are nothing but pawns for white supremacy. They are images used to bring the populace under some. Let me just make the point, Elder.
I agree.
See, the issue has to do, I'm not disagreeing with you stating that ultimately this spiritual, divine, what can I call it, epiphany will come. But it's going to come based on chaos and the destruction of what normalcy we are used to, just like it was in Egypt. They weren't going to be able to take the people out of Egypt under the normal circumstance. They had to leave Egypt. So only when we're only going to come to the revelation of ourselves is when America is brought to its knees, and that's what's on the verge of being happening. That's what biblical prophecy
What I'm
says.
saying as an atheist is that it's our turn to stand down.
Right.
I agree.
When you say our, you're talking about America.
America, yeah. When I'm saying America, it's America's turn to stand down.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm saying to
I
you
agree with
that
that.
they are
Everything-
all working together. This is a front. They're saber rattling. Certainly, they don't want to destroy their products, their prosperity, their families, but they're being pushed.
But
That's
Russia has a
why-
different boss because the Russians kicked the bankers out.
Exactly.
So they mad.
Exactly.
Right.
But where they come back together is what drives the economy: industrialization, carbon-based fuels.
I agree.
The ability to extract those resources of the
Agreed.
planet. And see,
There's a
that's
word.
what jeopardizes the planet. So the average person isn't thinking about the fracking, where they're using explosives in the earth.
That's right.
Drilling
Which
for
we're doing.
oil and coal. All of this undermines the structural integrity
Well,
of the planet.
this is why I'm saying this is what we're talking about. This week there's a portion in the scripture that says Hazinu, which means here, O heavens, and here, O earth.
Okay.
See, the people of Yah have got to cry out. Of course, it says, you are, right?
Right.
To teach His word.
That's right.
You're teaching His word. Cry aloud.
Yeah. And
But
spare not.
Spare not.
Right.
Prince,
Because
what you don't understand.
I got to cry out.
Okay.
So I'm not lewd. I do
Let me,
understand.
no. This is the message from the atheists.
Right.
We want to kill all the religious people.
Right.
We want
Okay.
to. That's the last. Why we want to
My
listen to
message
y'all? We
to-
want to destroy y'all.
Right. That's the same thing
I'm
as
just
America
saying.
is saying.
What I'm
in
saying-
the
And you're not
nation.
seeing that. We
What I'm
want to
saying-
destroy
what
all
I'm
of them.
saying-
That's why we
what I'm
passed
saying-
the
what I'm saying
Endless
to you-
War Act.
What I'm saying to you
Right.
is that cry aloud again and spare not, because you can't do that. Because
look at the
because
drones.
what I'm
doing
drones.
it.
Look at they
the
doing it every
drones,
day.
You can't do that.
They're doing it.
Why?
Elder.
You can't do that.
Get in. Tell them every day. People are dying from the drones every day.
Well, the
Listen.
elder is of an age we have to give him. We're giving him the
Right,
respect,
right, but
and he's of
What
a
I'm
fixed
saying
position.
is
Okay.
I mean,
what I'm saying is this. I understand the military.
Right.
I understand the military power. I understand their technology. But their technology does not undo Yah's technology. Okay? And the Creator, who is the God of the entire earth, gives you breath just like He gives Obama.
What I'm
he
saying.
all
doesn't
this-
believe that, though.
All right, I don't.
That's-
He
What
doesn't-
I'm
it ain't
saying,
about
if this
belief.
is a football game,
It is.
It's not about
It's
belief.
about belief.
if
for
this
us
is
not
a
as
about
football
belief.
game, if
It's
this is a
about
football
belief
game,
is faith.
right? If this is a football game, we're like the Dallas Cowboys. Y'all like the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay. Right.
Y'all losing every game.
Exactly.
On the scoreboard, I don't see none of the 1% being bombed by the drones, being hung. Let's get the bankers. None of them
Right.
going to jail.
They're not.
So
And what I'm saying
as a
to you-
point, as the standpoint of evil, y'all
And
losing.
you know why that is?
Y'all keep losing.
Why that is because they ain't crying out like the Creator said do.
Well,
That's the reason.
they're gonna cry. That's why Isaiah stated
That's
that
the
when they be hungry, they're gonna curse their God and their King. So again,
So
y'all,
if that's the case, to get in,
Then y'all
if
gotta
they're going
curse
to
the
curse
gods.
their God and their King, right, that means that the time is now and not tomorrow.
it said when they be hungry.
They
That's
are
what it-
hungry.
No, not
No,
in the
they're not.
masses that
Listen,
we're gonna
man.
have.
Listen.
So the point, I mean, I have listened, and I would give you respect. I'm just simply saying, in respect to the alternative position where non-believers like Black Sun don't see it as clearly as you and I, because we believe in the book, they don't. So in order to attach the perspective that we have to them, we have to use what we see right now in the news, like what we see happening off the coast of Syria, China,
That's right.
Iran, Russia moving. So he can't deny that, whether he believes in the Bible or not. We know that's biblical prophecy. He doesn't, but he's connected to historical perspective. So this is the point. The reality has to come through these five senses. They're not in the spiritual realm. They don't see what we see. So how do we prepare? this is what I feel we need to do what we're doing right now. Begin
I
to
agree.
communicate, and through that communications, it's not that people out in the audience are communicating. They're hearing and they're networking with their friends. And because the creator is the one that's truly in charge, even though those events are going on over there, we are preparing for what's getting ready to happen here.
How
and what's happening, how are we preparing?
Yeah.
Television,
We don't have any
radio.
How many nuclear suits do you have? Radio
It's
suits
not,
do you
well,
have?
see that therein lies
Glad
the
you said-
spiritual component.
Oh, man.
See, for now for the naturalist,
Right.
you go into bunkers and you
Okay.
start putting canned goods up. But we
agree.
know we don't have control over those resources. We trying to keep the pantry full just from week to
Well,
week.
if we could just
eating.
get the masks, if we could just, I'd be happy if we could just start getting masks.
well,
just
the
start, so
mask.
we can breathe.
Well, see again.
That's step one of preparation.
Ain't
to
worried
breathe.
about nothing.
Okay.
Ain't worried about nothing. Now that rap song for our children, is it really a mantra for the nation?
It is.
Because no weapon formed. See, this is our insurance policy. You may not have it, but because I love you,
We paid it.
And
let
I
me
don't-
show you something.
Right.
You don't have to believe in this.
Right.
We love each other because we're brothers and we've been able to form a relationship. Because I love you, my connection with this helps strengthen you.
And
Because
our
I'm not
love,
the judge.
our love has not stopped the drones from killing babies over in Gaza.
Well, because Yah has a global plan. We live in America, in Atlanta,
Which is-
is a
So
local.
we got,
Return
so we
unto
got to
me.
give blood sacrifices to your God.
Which is
no, I mean yes.
No, man, come on. Get
Which
in.
is-
When you say
return-
we got to, that's just what is happening.
And that's the same thing that the Muslim Brotherhood is doing. They beheading
which
Christians
is
over there
return
and all
unto
that.
me,
And I'll return unto you. See, out of chaos, which is what you think the original creation of the universe came out of chaos. Well, out of this chaos that ultimately will envelop the nations as we know it, will come peace. But it's going to take the unification of nations through their technology to show them that it is based on a destructive mindset.
It look
and
like-
then they'll have to change.
It's
Wrap
looking
it
like
up.
it's looking like it's taking the blood of nations